Hey everyone, welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. Settle in, because we've got a story that has the entire industry buzzing. Before we dive into all the twists, don't forget to subscribe and share so you never miss the latest tea. Now, let's get into it. Today's spotlight falls squarely on Navruz, whose recent work has been earning rave reviews, and on Alina, the woman whose name is often paired with his whenever talk turns to charisma, chemistry, and the fine line between art and real life. The reason? A storm that seems to have started on set and spilled into the personal lives of everyone involved. According to the whispers that have been growing louder by the hour, it all began when Alp teamed up with Navruz on a recent series. Their scenes felt effortless, their rhythm convincing, and viewers were quick to post clips saying things like, "That connection feels so real." As praise piled in, a different chorus rose right alongside it, with some claiming the intimacy on screen looked like more than just good acting. The talk may have started as idle online commentary, but it didn't stay that way for long. People close to the circle say this was the point where Alina, known for her poised demeanor even when speculation swirls, reached her limit. What pushed her there? The claim that she sent a private message to Navruz last week, a message that reportedly carried a pointed warning dressed as politeness. No one is showing screenshots, and nobody on the record is sharing the exact line, but the insinuation sounded unmistakable, a hope that what happens on set stays firmly on set. What followed unsettled everyone watching. Sources say that shortly after this alleged message, Navruz unfollowed Navruz on social media. It didn't take long for followers to notice, as accounts that track every move posted receipts. Meanwhile, fans pointed out that Alina had stopped liking certain posts she once engaged with, a tiny but telling shift in digital behavior that fans know how to read. The timeline felt too neat, too specific to be coincidence, and soon the comments flooded in. Not long after, Alina shared a calm yet loaded sentence on her own page: "Some roles belong strictly to the set." The caption was minimal, the tone measured, but everyone caught the subtext. Was it a general statement about professionalism? Was it directed at anyone in particular? Her followers certainly thought so, turning that line into the day's most repeated phrase and tying it right back to Alp and Navruz's partnership. And what about Navruz amid all of this momentum? He's kept publicly quiet. Insiders say he told his friends something along the lines of, "I go to work, I do my scenes, and I go home." He has reportedly insisted that he's focused on his craft and nothing more. Still, in the absence of direct statements, even a calm posture can be taken as fuel by the rumor mill. Every silence becomes a canvas people paint with their own assumptions. Another thread that keeps pulling attention is a claim coming from those who claim to be in the know, that Alina told Alp privately that she doesn't want to share a stage with him again in the near future. What "stage" means here is up for debate: an event, a joint appearance, even a promotional spot. The words are alleged, the tone is guessed at, but the effect is obvious. It suggests a boundary being drawn by someone trying to protect a relationship from spiraling headlines. Then there's Navruz, who, according to people close to her, is feeling the weight of all of this. The version of the story circulating backstage is that she felt blindsided by the situation, and tried to keep her response rooted in professionalism. "I am not stepping into anyone's home. I show up, I act, and I go," is the paraphrase insiders attribute to her. Even so, those same sources claim the emotional toll left her demoralized for a few days, enough that she reportedly didn't want to go to the set at all and needed time to recalibrate. The internet, as always, has chosen sides. One camp argues that Alina's reaction is natural, a defense of her territory, her privacy, and her peace. The other camp rallies around Navruz, insisting that she's just doing a job and being punished for conveying realism on camera. Between the two stands Alp, with every glance, gesture, and caption of his pored over for hidden meaning. The fan debate has turned into a full-blown cultural conversation about boundaries, acting, and the way public perception can stick to a person no matter what the truth is behind closed doors. All eyes are now on Navruz, as the countdown begins for a statement that some say is inevitable. People behind the scenes claim that even the production company is preparing a carefully worded reassurance to calm things down, emphasizing that no lines were crossed, that the collaboration remained by the book, and that what people saw on their screens was simply the product of craft and commitment. If that message does emerge, it could cool the fire, or stoke it further, depending on how the audience receives it. As the hours passed, more details emerged to thicken the plot. Crew members described long days where Alp and Sinem worked hard to shape scenes that felt alive and immediate. To some, their connection read as pure performance. To others, it rang like something more. That's the tricky part of chemistry. It's both a gift and a risk. Whether it comes from rehearsal, mutual respect, or a shared method, the line between acting and perception can blur, especially when two talented people lock into a shared rhythm on camera. Those who were on set during the days when the alleged message surfaced describe an atmosphere that turned tense almost overnight. Schedules were quietly adjusted. There were whispered hallway conversations, coffee cups left untouched as people wondered what might happen next. A few scenes were reportedly shuffled around to accommodate the sudden mood shift, nothing drastic, but enough that the change was felt. Everyone acted professional, but you could sense the caution. People avoided eye contact when the topic crept too close. Friends of Alina say her decision to speak, if the DM happened as claimed, didn't come from pettiness but from a need to draw a line. She's built a reputation for elegance and restraint, but that doesn't mean she won't defend what matters to her. Those friends paint a picture of a woman caught between understanding the demands of performance and not wanting her own life to become collateral. They say she had warned privately for a while that online chatter was getting too personal, that assumptions were starting to harden into judgments. For Alp's part, insiders suggest he's juggling two equally heavy responsibilities, to his craft and to his personal life. When the internet crowns a scene too real, a working actor faces a choice. Shut down the chemistry and risk undermining the story, or keep playing the role and risk feeding speculation. According to those around him, Alp tried to hold the line and let the work speak for itself, but in the end, that very silence became part of the narrative. And then there's Sinem, who has described to Confidence, again, through paraphrases that leak like water through cupped hands, that she's tired of being cast as the disruptor in someone else's relationship. She shows up to work prepared, puts everything into the role, and leaves it on set. That's the rhythm of a disciplined performer. Yet even discipline has limits, and when your comments section fills with accusations you never asked for, it's hard not to feel the strain. The unfollow of Alp was read by many as a defensive move, a small protective barrier erected in a storm. Online, the debate only intensified. Some fans argued that blurting out emotions isn't a crime, that Alina did what many would do in her position. Others kept insisting that punishing a colleague for being convincing is unfair. Everyone had an opinion, and each opinion seemed louder than the last. Commenters pulled up old interviews, dissected body language during press days, counted how often certain photos were liked and unliked. If there's a forensic science of celebrity scrutiny, the internet has mastered it. Meanwhile, people whisper that a formal statement is being drafted, one that will frame all of this as an unfortunate misunderstanding born from the magnetism of good acting. They say the production wants to underline the presence of intimacy coordinators, closed sets, and strict protocols. The message behind the message would be simple: we did this right. Whether that will quiet the story depends on more than logistics, though. Feelings weigh more than technicalities, and perception often resists correction. The timeline that fans pieced together only made it all feel more cinematic. Praise for Alp and Sinem scenes trended one week, the alleged message followed soon after, the unfollow came right on its heels, and then Alina's post sealed the tone. Each step added a layer to a narrative that felt, oddly enough, like an episode of the very kind of series they were making. With each beat, the personal and professional kept slipping past each other like dancers who can't decide whether they're in a rehearsal or a show. On set, life carried on because it had to. Cameras still rolled, lines still needed to be delivered, and deadlines weren't going to wait for anyone's heart to catch up. Yet those who were there said you could feel the new guardrails. A joke that might have landed last week fell flat. A scene partner who once stayed to run lines after hours now headed out the moment the assistant director called it. Polite, kind, focused, and careful. That word kept coming up, careful. Observers note that, for Alina, this wasn't just about jealousy or pride. It was about boundaries. For someone who values her private world, any hint that public perception is trespassing must feel like a breach. If she did send that message, it may have been an effort to reset the rules, to insist that the sanctity of what's built away from the cameras isn't up for debate or performance. For Alp, the pressure is twofold: protect what you have and protect what you've built. A misread moment can take months of work to undo, and the last thing he wants is to watch the conversation pivot away from scripts, performances, and the art he's proud of. His friends say he's methodical by nature, the sort who tries to stay reasonable when emotions spiral. But reason doesn't trend. Silence doesn't either, until it does. Sinam's camp, for their part, wants one thing out there clearly: she didn't invite this and she certainly didn't enjoy it. She's upset that the line between pretend and personal keeps being redrawn by people who weren't in the room and didn't read the call sheets. If she took a few days to regroup, as rumors suggest, it wasn't to make a statement. It was to catch her breath, brace her back, and return to work without letting gossip rewrite her schedule. Industry veterans watching from afar say they've seen this play out before: appearing sparks on screen, audiences fall in love with the illusion, and suddenly three people are pulled into a triangle that exists only in the imagination. But just because it's familiar doesn't mean it doesn't sting. Professionals get hurt. Relationships get tested. Careers bend under narratives that no one wrote. And yet, at the center of it all, there is still a job to do and a story to tell. Where does it go from here? That depends on what comes next. If Alp speaks, the tone he chooses will matter. If Alina clarifies, the boundaries she draws will shape the story. If Sinam addresses it at all, her words could settle the dust or kick it up again. And if the production company steps forward with a clear account of protocols and conduct, it may steer the conversation back toward the work, where it arguably belongs. Until then, the speculation will continue its circuit. For now, that's the state of play: an intense collaboration that lit up the screen, a private message that allegedly lit a fuse, a cascade of follows and unfollows, likes and unlikes, a single caption that everyone read like a poem, and three professionals navigating a sudden storm. We'll keep watching, and we'll bring you every careful update as it arrives. You've been watching Secrets Behind the Stars. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe and share so you don't miss what happens when the next chapter lands. Until then, stay tuned and take care.